Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck. Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Matilda Swift, here with my co-host Samantha Cummings, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over 24 books between us, and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our Mastery Through Missteps journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way. This week we're talking about running our first retreat. That wasn't really a retreat, but something similar. Before that, what are your wins and whinges of the week?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. It would be easy to say the last few days, so I won't say that, because we'll talk about that very soon. See, it seems like an easy win. It's a cheap win. I am currently feeling full of energy and just very positive and great. I've been having some really good sales. I'm running some ads, which we'll talk about at a future date. But I've just had a very good month so far of sales and KU page reads, and it just feels like a lot of things are clicking right now. And so I have no whinges. I'm riding a high, and that's it. Yeah, I'm just like cresting. I'm riding this wave, and I'm hoping that it'll go forever. How about you?
I feel like this week has been the longest week of my life because genuinely I forgot when I was speaking to someone earlier. I forgot that I've also been to Burt Island this week. I've done a 4-day intensive talk workshop series. Plus I've been to the other end of the country, like I could have been as far away as I could go in the country. Stayed on Agatha Christie's Holiday Island. Felt like I was like a 1920s flapper. Come all the way back on like a 6-hour train, and then done this workshop series, and that's just this week. So win is just that like I'm everywhere, I'm doing everything. I feel very powerful, and then the other wins are all related to the workshop, except I've got one more win, which is a little bit of a surprise one I haven't mentioned before. So I am running ads, which again we'll talk about in a future episode, which is by the way next week. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
So I'm running ads, and one of the books I'm running ads to, I would like the read through to be higher. And I got recommended to a service, and I won't talk about them now because I've not used them yet, so I'll talk about them once I've used them. But I got recommended to a service that does like sort of dev edits, but they often do it on books that are already published just to give suggestions of how to improve read through. And I had my first meeting with the person today who had been, matched with as a kind of dev editor. And she was so nice, and it was such a good conversation, and I really feel positive about this. And she was like very clear on matching like what my expectations were with what she could offer, the pricing very reasonable, and she used to be a full-time writer as well, and now does this editing work, and it just seemed like really actionable and positive. So I feel great. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to fit in doing the work on the book, but we talked very specific about how much time I got to spend on it and how much time is worth spending on it to improve the read through, and how much, like, what sort of work I would like to be suggested to do. And yeah, I'm going to fit it in soon at some point.
Amazing. Well, I'm glad we're both happy and energetic right now, because I'm sure something will come along. No, I'm not going to jinx it. No, we're going to be great. We're going to be happy forever. Happy forever. So let's move on to another happy topic, which is the retreat that we have just run, which we've called a retreat, but it wasn't really a retreat. Tell us more about this, please.
So yes, it wasn't a retreat. I think we called it a retreat because when we were first planning it, or in fact, in the long, long distant future, we would like to run retreats in like the cute little farmhouse that we own with some llamas, and it will be great. And like to have proper writing retreats, which will have, writing sessions, but also some action sessions, some like lead workshops. And we had just come off a retreat that we did in the monastery, I think, and we started planning this. So we used the word retreat, and then we got closer and closer. We were like, this is nothing like a retreat, actually. It's very much, it was really like a lead workshop. And it was so good. We had 4 different days. You could sign up to any day that you wanted, or all the days. And some people did do all the days, and we did all the days, and it seemed like a
Hmm.
great sequence of days. Not to toot our own horn, but we did business, creativity, mindset, and money. And on each one, you got a separate workbook with more tasks than you could possibly do in that time. And part of the activity was like seeing what you were drawn to, what you felt like you didn't want to do, what you didn't want to do but you did anyway, what you just skimmed through, and like just seeing how you responded to these challenges, basically, like the activities you had to do. And then we did the activities as well, and then we talked about it at length as a group, and everyone gave lots of really helpful suggestions to each other. Just hearing other people talk, I think, is quite useful when it's on a topic that you are also invested in. So even on the busiest day, we had the groups with there were 8 of us in it, including us too. And so you're obviously doing a lot of listening, but it was very active listening. And I just felt like I learned so much, and we made the workbook. So we should in theory have known what was in them, but we've got bad memories, so we forgot
It's like
what
we
was in
just
them.
skimmed, we created them and then
"Mm."
deleted them from memory.
Yeah, because the whole point was kind of to do it fresh and be confronted with things you didn't necessarily want to do. So we had that good feeling of like doing something that you couldn't like escape what you needed to do. You had to really be forced to confront things you may want to think about. So we had that great feeling, but also listening to everyone else, being able to like think of constructive feedback for everyone else, as you do when you're kind of working in it was almost like a seminar. Just it made it so much more like deep and engaging when we were talking about any of the topics. And I just feel like I have spent the last 4 days, being my best self. It was great.
Yes.
How about you?
Yeah, I feel like it cracked my brain open, and I was able to pour loads of things into my brain. And it's like, yeah, like you say, as soon as you start talking to other people, because we talk to each other about all these things, and even when we have our mastermind days, we go home and we are so drained, but from like being so creative and using our brains so much in a very condensed period of time, it's just like so full on. And the last 4 days has been a mastermind day every day. And although it's kind of draining because like you say, it's active listening, so it wasn't just like people showing up and listening to us talk. It was like everybody spoke. We all had back and forth conversations, and my brain just like, I feel like I've learnt so much, and I have created new neural pathways.
Yes.
That I didn't know I needed to create, and now all of a sudden my brain's like, hey, we can do this now. It's almost like a superpower, and I don't really know what to do with this power yet, but I can feel it in me. This is like, it sounds like I'm like trying to sell it, like I'm trying to pitch it for like the next thing that we want, but it legitimately, I feel so excited and happy, and like I went back to my day job today. So I've effectively not had a day off. Like I've just not had a day off since last Sunday. I have worked basically, this is like my 8th day of working solidly. And I thought I was going to go into work today for a rest. Like I was like, I can't wait to go to my 9 to 5 just for a nice break. But I actually, because a lot of the times I just like mull around, just mooch around. And I was actually had a really great day at work as well, because I was so rejuvenated from doing the workshop that I was just on form at work. Funny as, the funniest person in the room as usual. Coming up with some like great ideas for things, and like, like doling out work, which is generally what my job is. And, I got told I was getting a pay rise. Then I got home and I thought, I'll have a break, but I worked out, and then I made a really nice dinner. Like I'm on a roll, and I feel like
you're your best self.
I am my best self. It feels so good to have talked to these people, and like people in our Discord who you see their names, and now you know like who they are, and we've had conversations, and it feels like just making more connections. Loving it.
Yeah, and I think I don't want this podcast today to feel like we're trying to sell this. Like, we are going to run these things again, and we are going to sell the workbooks, but like anyone could do this, right? Like we were just facilitating something that anyone could do, and what we really want to talk about is like what worked from doing a group kind of workshop session, and I think what really works because even if we'd done these same workbooks, just the two of us, it wouldn't have been the same as doing it in a group. Because I think we're close, and we kind of know what the person's going to say, and we also maybe know what the other person's going to avoid already. There's not quite that confrontation of like having to explain what you're doing to someone else, as there is in like a slightly bigger group or a slightly group that doesn't know each other. So and we were saying in the workshop, in the first day there were 6 other people there, and we were like, ideally you would form 3 more podcasts. The 6 of you would split off into 3 more podcasts and like take it on from here. Because anyone could do this, and if you wanted to do something like this with your friends, like you just pick a topic, and there's tons of resources online. Like really what we were doing was just collating things that we've already done or know about or had ideas about, and just formalizing it. So for example, one of the exercises that was quite long that I've done before, I've talked about in the podcast before, was the Tim Ferriss fear setting. And it's really good, and we put it in there I put it in knowing it was a bit long to do in the session, but you could do some of it or at least look at it, and like anyone could find these things and put them together. But like I have done the Tim Ferriss fear setting because someone else told me about it, another indie author, and like I told you about it, but like maybe you've not done it, but maybe you've meant to do it, and I think I've even mentioned it in the Discord before, and maybe everyone's like, oh yeah, I should do that. But like literally being forced, we had an hour session where you had to choose things from the workbook, knowing that you're going to have to talk about them afterwards for a bit over an hour. Literally having someone like be on screen, and everyone's not watching each other, but like everyone's present on screen, forced you to make choices of like, what do I want to spend this 1 hour doing? And there are about 5 hours worth of content that you could have done, so you had to choose deliberately. You had to make specific choices. And so you had this large workbook, and it was split into topics. So again, you could make this for a group of friends of yours, if you wanted to. If you had like, I would say 6 to 10 is a good number to kind of make sure everyone's going to have time to talk. But they were just different topics, different exercises, and just making yourself do them and justify your responses. Like if you didn't do things, not even justify it to other people, justify it to yourself, justifying like why you were skipping there was an exercise about assessing kind of how much money you've made over your whole lifetime and how much your net worth is. No one wanted to do that one, and I didn't want to do that one, and the reason why was because I thought it was going to make me confront the fact that I'm very bad with money, and I'm not someone who is like financially wise. I'm not even sure I'm bad with money, actually. I just don't particularly care for money. I thought it would reveal like, oh yeah, as I thought, I've made no money, I've got no money, but actually I've made quite a bit of money and I've still got quite a lot of assets. So it's like, oh, check me out, without even really worrying too much about it. I'm financially wise.
Yes.
And it made me feel more confident about my choices generally. So I think the best sort of tasks are ones like that, where you think you already know the answer, and then when you have to write the answer down, you're like, oh, why did I think that? And what does it change in my feelings about myself that I now understand a different answer? And there's so many things like that.
Yeah, I think every task that I did, and I basically did all of them to varying degrees, and even the ones that I didn't have time to do, I made notes on what I needed to do and when I was going to do it. But I think I was surprised at every answer that I came up with for every task, even the ones where I thought, I'll do this is an easy win. And then you kind of start making notes or looking into something and you think, actually, I could spend an hour doing this. Like you can really deep dive into stuff that you only think is going to take a little bit of time, but in a good way. Like I was so interested in doing it, and I wished that I had more time. And like after all the sessions, I made a list of all of my action points, and there were so many, but they are all things I can't wait to do, because we really came up with stuff that is just helping to make your business better. And I like that. I like being prompted to do things like that. So yeah, I think every single answer that I came out with, that I wrote down, and we did some free writing and stuff, I was just surprised at every single turn, like, oh yeah, right, yeah, so that's what you should be doing.
And again, like, surprised by workbooks that we made. So I do think anyone could do this. It's just like the kind of thinking something through and like really taking time to make it and set a group up and kind of organize the time is the hard part. But like this is, and we've been practicing that from this podcast really. It's like we kind of wanted this session to be an extended podcast where essentially every week we decide a topic in advance. We go away thinking it's going to be one thing, and often we come back being like, oh, I did something completely different. And now I realise what I didn't understand before. And now I know what I need to do. And then we'd go away and do something else. I'm like, oh, this is what I researched. And this is, I thought I was going to do this, but I actually hated it and didn't want to do that. And that's where all our epiphanies have come from. And that's really why we wanted to have the sessions kind of like this. And we didn't give out the workbooks in advance. The whole point was to confront in real time what you are and aren't feeling confident, able, willing to do, and why.
Yeah, because a lot of the conversation that we had as well was, what are the tasks that you thought you wanted to do, that you were instantly drawn to and you thought they were easy wins, or you just like wanted to do them immediately? But also, why didn't you pick the other ones? What were the initial reactions you had? And I think like the emotional confrontation of those things, and it's quite difficult to talk about because sometimes you don't know that about yourself. Excuse me. About why you didn't want to. And I'm the same. There were certain things where I thought, I'm not going to do that now. And then I had to justify why that was. And having to do that to a group of people is different than if you just sat at home doing it on your own.
You just flick, and you don't have to think about it.
You would never justify it. And I have downloaded workbooks in the past from other authors, and just how to like write a business plan and how to like come up with your branding and social media stuff. And I never spend the time that's needed to like on them. I never do it. I will flick through and I will fill them in so like with such little information, and I get to the end and I think that was a waste of money. Like, what did I do that for? Why did I think this workbook was going to like fix my whole life? And it's because I was doing it on my own, and that's actually like not helpful for me. And but also, I think you just need to have people to ask you why. Like, explain your emotions. And that's, I think, what we did really well. I think that having to justify yourself is the
more
is
like
the
having
work.
to justify yourself to yourself.
To yourself,
because really, like, nobody had to say anything they didn't want to say at all. There was so much in these workbooks that you could have had a task you really hated and you didn't want to confront at all, and you would just not have discussed it. So I think like the last day was money, and we wanted to kind of say that as like a last topic, because you need to be quite like emotionally prepared to talk about money, and also be aware of like the group dynamics and how you feel comfortable saying what you want to say or withholding things. So last topic was money, and especially for like we were in an international group, there are people who are getting up at like 3:30 in the morning in their time to do this,
champions.
Which just absolutely amazing, and they were so like awake and on it and contributing, which I would not be at that time in the morning, and it was so lovely. But was gonna say, so you kind of, everyone's in a different emotional state and comes from a different like culture, and there was I think there were probably topics in the workbook that maybe people didn't answer and didn't talk about when they didn't answer it. Like, I feel like for me that was one where I'm not sure withholding it, but like to go into why you didn't do something would have been a really big conversation about like, I was raised by a family from this background, but because we knew each other well enough from having done a few days together, we kind of say like, it made me feel really like emotionally vulnerable. It gave me like issues of self-worth, and we didn't have to go deeper into that, as long as you know like the person themselves, the person who did or didn't do the exercise, has thought through why they did or didn't do it. That's the part that is important. The thing where it's not beneficial, and thankfully I don't think we had any moments where people said I don't know, or was like kind of shut down about it. I think everybody was actually very emotionally open and honest. They should have podcasts,
and that was and that's the thing, every single person that joined us was like, I feel like I've learnt a lesson from every single person, and like that I will carry now for the rest of my life. I really feel like everybody has taught me something, and everybody needs to have a podcast. Everyone was so good, and like we chat obviously every week, and we have a rapport, and we we have really good back and forth, but we had that with everybody. Everybody was so willing to jump in, and there were no awkward pauses. Everybody knew what they wanted to say.
Before.
Yeah, It's like,
Which
it
I
was
think
just like,
comes from
yeah.
having a podcast and having the Discord, and obviously we have like a people know how we're going to talk. People are not shocked, which I think is useful. You know, if people came to a group with us and they weren't aware that we were such hilarious geniuses, they might be intimidated.
Of course.
I thought we weren't very funny actually. It was very serious topics. We weren't our funniest selves, but we were chatty.
Yes.
But I think that really helps is like having that existing relationship. So I would say if I was going to do this away from the podcast, like trying to do it with people, I would probably want to do it with people that I know to an extent, if at all possible. Because I think not having everyone be strangers, having at least some relationship or some knowledge of each other in the group, made it quicker to warm up. Like we had just a very quick 15-minute icebreaker at the beginning of every day, and that was all we needed just to like get in. And part of that was also the people who came along. Like the people who came along were very competent, like group participants. There was nobody in there who felt like they had not been in this sort of group before. They were all very aware of like the importance of contributing, and that felt really good as well. So I think if I were picking a group to do this with of my friends, I would want to make sure they weren't people who were happy to leave like a dead space of silence, because that's the worst. It's when you're like in a group and no one's saying anything, because I'm always the one who like, I'll fill in, I can't stand the silence, I'll jump in, so then just me talking the whole time.
But you're very good at filling a silence. You also, I have to say, I think that this may have been commented on in Discord recently, is that you are very good at asking like the hard-hitting questions, because everybody wants to be bullied by you effectively. I think that's like what's come about. Because it's true, like you do always ask the right question. You always know what the question is. And because you have, and we were talking about this before we started recording, because you have such a background in running courses and having that participation and getting to the bottom of what people are thinking and why they're kind of hesitant to do things, and you really know the right time to ask a question and also when to push back. Just like you're just very good at that, like the whole peeling the layers, which,
and that felt really nice. Like I think I said this last time that like I no longer work in education. I've done it for over a decade, and I worked in small group teaching, and I was doing it for something that I didn't particularly. I cared about it, but like, I didn't have a personal investment in it. Like I enjoyed doing it, but it was not my thing. On doing this felt like, I'm using all the skills I learned to do that, and like to figure out where someone's sticking point is, or what they think they're meant to be doing when they actually should be doing something else. Like I think I've spent a long time really honing those skills, like thinking about what someone's thinking about, and doing that in the thing that I like care about more than anything in the world, which is just like such a joy.
Yeah. And it's like really nice to, and I've only just discovered this because I have always been a recluse writer, and I discovered this in September when we did our retreat at the Abbey, and I have since obviously rediscovered this weekend, is that talking to other authors, other writers is it. Like that is my favorite thing. I love having those conversations. I love when people ask questions and I know the answers to them, and it's really feels like in my regular life I don't feel like a genius, but in this life I do. Like in this life I feel like I have so much to offer, and that's come from this podcast and just writing for so long. But it's really nice to feel like I have something to offer people, just to be completely selfish. It makes me feel good. It was just very nice to feel like I had something to offer.
Yeah.
Which
is,
but
like you said, it comes from this podcast, and I think I do really want to encourage people to do more things like this. Like you don't have to record it every week. Don't. I know we joke about that, but like you don't have to do it every week, and you don't have to go to like a formal group session. But I think from us having, a conversation every week, taking our publishing seriously, and we have a longer monthly meetup, like that has just changed the way that I regard myself. Like and regard my own writing and publishing, because like why else would I be talking every why else be going away and like researching a topic, thinking about it, planning it, prepping conversation around it, having conversation, if I weren't a serious person? And like the way that I went last night to a millionaire author mindset webinar from Lisa Vino, and it was so much about just like putting yourself in groups with these people and talking in the way in which you belong in those groups is like the majority of actually changing your mindset. And if you write every day, you see yourself as a writer, and you start doing more and more things that make you a writer. And that's why people say write every day. It's not necessarily, and I don't write every day, but like, you know, if you write regularly, you start doing more and more things that make you a quote unquote writer. And if you take part in conversations like this, you know, you start doing things like, oh, I'll listen to that podcast because I know Sam will find it interesting. I'll just double check it's the right topic with Sam, and then I can send it to you. And then the group gets bigger and bigger. Now we have the whole Discord. And like sometimes I'll listen to a specific podcast episode thinking, oh, I bet someone in the group will find that useful. I'll just listen to it and check and you know, vet it for them. And I'll try this exercise and see if I want to recommend it to people. And just the more you like put yourself in a world, the more you belong in that world.
Yes.
And it does seem weird because like every author that I know, bar maybe like, you know, a literal handful, is an introvert. And introvert doesn't mean shy. And introvert doesn't mean you hate people. It means like you only want conversations that are incredibly meaningful and like intense. And that's the only conversations of value to you, because that's what's going to give you energy, is like making an authentic connection. Whereas just like chit chat is like draining and you have to go to bed afterwards. And this whole week, like it interestingly actually, when we have our mastermind days, that does feel exhausting because we really are like thinking constantly. And I didn't feel exhausted in the same way after the workshops. I think partly because we had separated out like some independent work sessions, a bit of conversation, independent work sessions, and you could really just, you know, process things at a slower rate. Maybe we need to do that when we're doing our mastermind days.
To be
like,
fair,
now go away and do something about ourselves.
Yes, I was shocked at how, I mean, it drained me because active listening for that long is very difficult for me. Looking at a screen or just like being present for that long, for me, as like an ADHD girly who constantly wants to just like wander off and have like a break every 5 minutes, like, and that's what I do in my day job. Like I haven't actively paid attention for that long forever. and I was tired because of that, but I wasn't like as tired as I usually am after like one of our mastermind days, because we had such a good breakdown of time. And then our afternoons were just like we were just solo working but on screen. I can't think what we're calling that now.
Co-working. Yeah.
Co-working, thank you. So we did co-working
and that was
afternoons.
so good, because otherwise I would have, I think, been like, oh, I'm too tired after the morning, I'll just have an afternoon off. But actually sitting on screen with people just meant I tend to get chapters done. I got lots of writing done. It was great.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was my win of the week, is that I finished editing my book. Yes. Already forgotten. Already moved on. Yeah, but that's like, and I had saved that because I hadn't done any editing the week before because we were prepping and like just had a lot of things to kind of get ready for the sessions. And then I thought, oh, I'll see how far I get in the co-working times. And I was like shocked at how much work I did. I got so much done. And yeah, it was such a fun time and just really chilled. And I just feel like the last 4 days were my millionaire author days. Like they were. Yeah. That was it.
I do think if we were millionaire authors, we would be having like that, you know, maybe a day a week of something like that, like a really intense sit down conversation, go through your business, with other people, talk about like high level strategy things. I thought we could go through a little bit of what we took away from it. So we had 4 days. We did business, creativity, mindset, then money. I think I said this on the day, like the day I was least looking forward to was creativity. And I think because it's feeling like a little bit emotionally vulnerable for me at the moment. Like I think I keep hearing things that stand out to me, so I know it must be important. I keep hearing things about thinking really big with your story and like writing, taking your art incredibly seriously.
Yes.
And not to like a pretentious level, but then like saying, you know, listen to a good podcast episode with Kennedy Ryan where she was talking about how she spends like 2 months just researching whatever topic she wants to put in her books. And I'd also watched like a comedian talk about having spent years working on an accent for what I thought was like just a funny little bit. And she was like, just listen to describe it as like something she took so phenomenally seriously. I was like, oh, and I was so drawn to those. I was like, I want that. So I think the creativity day, I was really shying away from it because I didn't want to admit how much I hold myself back from taking my writing as seriously as I want to, and I'm holding myself
Mm-hmm.
back because it's one of those ones where like if you try your hardest and it's not good enough, then that's really scary.
Yeah.
So that was the day I least wanted to do. Did you have a day like that?
I equally, I think I wasn't worried about creativity, but actually creativity brought up those things. So
Hmm.
I when I started the like our first little thing about creativity, it's like, how do you feel about your creative process? And I was like, I feel great. I think my creative process is brilliant. I have no worries. And then I did all the course, like all the topics, and I was like, oh, same as you. Like I actually do have a lot of insecurities about the depth of my character stories,
Hmm.
and that brought up more than I thought it would. But I was not looking forward to money, which is obvious because money is like my
Hmm.
worst thing. But actually, it came at
I
a
think I thought it'd be fine
perfect
we've done so
time.
much about it.
Yes, I think I was scared of it because in the past I've been scared of it. And
Hmm.
it's funny how the day before that topic, I on a whim decided to like look at my finances, and it wasn't even like consciously doing it. I just
Hmm.
downloaded because I used to have an app that showed me all of my accounts in one place, and then that app shut down. So I thought, oh, I need to get a new one of those. So I did that,
Hmm.
and I've been dealing with a lot of money stuff anyway for the past few weeks, and it all came to like a head where I thought I should really just look at all of my finances, and was shocked to find that I'm doing great. I'm actually doing very well with my finances. like,
Amazing.
so,
Which is like the worst thing when you're looking at something, you're like, oh God, I can't look because it's so
oh,
terrible. It's going to be
so
awful.
the
And
tab in
then you
my
torture
brain was,
yourself.
yeah, the tab
Yeah.
in my brain was open of like, oh, I'm a pauper. Oh, I have no money. I really have to scrimp. That is my mentality. So all of this kind of came about at the same time where I was like, oh, I feel terrible about money. Actually, I
Hmm.
should look at my money. And then I realized I was doing okay. And then we did the money course,
Yeah.
and it just and I knew it was coming up, but I promise it wasn't like a conscious decision to look at my
Hmm.
funds
To be
beforehand.
prepared. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to be
That
prepared. Come
doesn't
on.
sound like you.
This is me. Yeah, I just rocked up. Um yeah, so I was scared about doing that day because of past fears, and then I had
Mm.
such good epiphanies that day of actually like I understand more than I think that I do about money, and it just was a pleasant surprise. Like I still have a long way to go to really understand a lot of stuff to do with my business, but being forced to look at it and talk to other people
Mm.
about it was really nice because it was such a um like a soft, gentle approach where I
Hmm.
trusted everybody in the room, in our Discord room, to like I didn't feel like I had to hold back. I didn't feel stupid, which is what I often feel when thinking about money, as I feel stupid. And
Hmm.
that was a very nice feeling to have. I still
The
have
thing that good about the
a
money
long
day
way to
was
go, but
the good thing for me was that there were a lot of different exercises where you had to write down real numbers, and
hmm
that is something I always avoid doing. I Yeah, I let it have like an open tab in my brain, and there were like
hmm
exercises where you had to like write down the real number of books you have to sell a day to make the money that you
yes.
want to make.
Whew.
Um, and I was like, lots of things that we had to do surprised me in both directions. Like I was both surprised by like it sounds like a lot, but also not a lot. And I was like, it
Mm,
sort of both seem true at the same time. I think
yeah,
because I often just let things swirl around in my head, they're just like this amorphous cloud, and so I'm
yeah.
like, it must be enormous, but also maybe it's fine. And I
hmm
just let both those things be true. And then my look is like, oh, okay, it's a big
Yeah,
number, but like it's a doable. It's a real number, so I can do it.
yes.
Um, yeah. And so I think the money day, I don't think I had any particular hang-ups about it because I think I'm very aware of where I'm at with money,
hmm
and uh, and nothing in there felt like I couldn't face it. Even a lot of the tasks which were like I didn't want to do,
hmm
when I did them, I felt better about every single one. There was
Yeah.
nothing that I did where I was like, oh, I am
hmm
terrible. It all just
Yeah.
like kept reinforcing like I can do money and I know money. And like
hmm
what what was interesting was like there were so many things like that across all the days that I really feel like I've like rewired my mind.
hmm
Like you know like you have like a neuroplasticity, like you can actually rewire neurons if you think about the same thing
Yes.
over and over again. I was like,
Yes.
I think I finally hit that stage, and like these 4 days really solidified stuff where in my real life I feel like I can fix anything. Like I feel like there's no problem I can't fix,
Yes.
and I could do anything. And I felt like in these 4 days I was like, I can do it in my writing. Because
Yeah.
I felt like on that day to do with creativity, I was like, oh, I really feel like my characters, I'm not thinking big for my characters. I'm never creating characters who people are desperate to come back and read. I'm never creating characters people get like tattooed in them. And I was like, you know what? I probably should learn how to do that. And I was just like, yeah. And then I
Yes.
just like bought myself some books. I've planned the time I'm going to do it. I've looked at courses for it. That's part of like why I'm doing this work on an old book that I want to get better read through on, is like in preparation for my new series. I want to have characters people are desperate to come back for. I was like, I think I can do that. And like everything that we came across, where it was like a lot of the money one, was about kind of not quite feeling confident knowing how businesses work, like, or like entrepreneurship work, because it's not something I'm used to. I was like, we just read a book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're fine.
Or
And I
like
felt so competent
what
and like
what
powerful.
yeah, what came about really was, and I think everyone was roughly the same in this respect, is we all needed to ask for help. We all had
Yeah.
somebody, and this maybe came up in the mindset day, which was think about like some people that you can reach out to for specific
Yeah.
things. And I think everybody came up with somebody that they could ask, or like if they didn't say it, I think probably everyone wrote it down. Somebody that they could ask for help, or somebody that they had to contact just to take the next step into something. Everyone knew who that was. Everybody had an action point to take away from that, and that, like you say, it's like I think we all created new neural pathways of like the brain elasticity. Everyone's brains were like, oh yeah, this is it. And previously to the course, I had been having those feelings of, I don't actually believe I can do this. I got to that point,
Yeah.
where everyone hits the dip, where I was like, I could keep writing and this could just be a hobby forever. I can't actually envisage how I could make money from this. I don't know how I could start making even like my next monetary goal. I can't even imagine it. It didn't seem possible. And then we talked about what ceiling we all, for it might have been the money day, actually. I'm really bad at remembering specific days because it's all blurred into one. But,
Also, like your topic's so interconnected, like mindset and money and business. Like, they're all sort of the same thing.
It all led into another. It was like a big one conversation that we'd broken down. And one of the questions was like, what money ceiling do you believe that you're at right now, and how could you break through it? And that was the exact question that I needed, because I really do feel, or I had felt like I'd hit a ceiling. And prior to this weekend, I thought, like, maybe I will never make it. Why would I be able to make money from this? But now I'm like, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I be able to make money from this? It's just a business. And businesses have rules, and this is how all businesses are run. So it's not like I'm trying to do something that's impossible. Millions of people do this. So it was a really good, reaffirming thing to realize, is actually like, yeah, I'm fine. I think I'll be fine. And I came away with so many action points.
Yeah.
So
did,
many.
and I kept coming across the same action points, like coming from different directions, like whether it was like from the creativity side or the business side. I kept like having the same solutions, which was so again reaffirming. Was just like, on the mindset side, like I really wanted to be authentic in my business. I really want to make connections that feel authentic, that aren't just like marketing. And on the business side of it, I wanted to build up true fans. Like they're both kind of led me to the same place, and I had a lot of action points from all the days, but like several of them really led into the same thing. And some of the things that we've talked about recently, like having a Patreon, but it felt so validating of that choice to see it come up again and again in like different goals and values led into that same outcome. And a lot of the tasks that we had, I'm really glad that we like made ourselves put deadlines next time. That was part of the activities a lot of the time, was like, put a date next to this, like when you realistically getting it done. And I think in my head I had got so many things that feel like the next thing on my list, and like, oh, I'm gonna get. There's maybe 5 things that are like I feel like are imminently going to happen, but having to put dates, and I was like, oh, they're probably not all going to happen in March when I've got 2 books to edit. I'm going to a convent island, and
Yeah.
I've got like a life to live.
Hmm.
I probably might do one of those things, and
Hmm.
the others need to put dates in them and have a realistic understanding. So being able to like look at all the topics together over the 4 days, it made me not lie to myself about what's the next thing
Hmm.
because I can't have 5 next things. I can have one next
No.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of my stuff was really like business central, so how to professionalize, which was a shock to me. Like I didn't think that I was going to come away thinking that I wanted to be more professional, which obviously I do, but I always just assume like what I'm doing is fine, but actually it came to a realization where what I'm doing is fine, but
Hmm.
I could do this better. And this is very much just a me thing of I will do something and I'll hit a level of doing this thing and I'll never strive for more. And
Hmm.
that's probably like what all of my teachers at school would always say is like Sam reaches a stage and then she stops. Like she puts the brakes on herself. And
Hmm.
that isn't what I want. Like I used to do that because I just wasn't interested in the thing.
Hmm.
So I would just not try and strive for more because I get to a point where I think, nah, I'm done with this. But this writing and being an author and like doing this and being a publisher, I'm never going to be done with this. Like this isn't the same as that. And that's like a switch has flipped where my brain has suddenly gone, oh, you're treating this like the things that you don't want to do, but this is the thing you do want
Yeah.
to do. And that's been really nice because I really do feel like something inside me has shifted. And I always talk about this like of opening a door and walking into another room. I'm in the next room.
Another room this
There's
week.
always another room, and I've opened a door, and oh, it's another room, and this room is less cluttered, and
Hmm.
and it feels like there's a window open and there's like an ocean breeze coming in. And this
Yeah.
is the room that I want to be in for like a long time of
Hmm.
getting everything in order and spending time like thinking and planning and not rushing to do stuff, just to let things like
Hmm.
unfurl. That feel like I'm moving towards more professionalism, and I don't know why it's next to an ocean. That's just where the room is.
Be
I
nice,
have no
yeah.
control. Yeah, I have no control about where these rooms lead me. But when I think about it, there's a window and the ocean.
Mhm. The other thing that I wanted to mention that's kind of on that line is on the money day, you had talked about like, oh, I really shy away from like facing up to money things. And And this year, we talked about this last week, I think, like, oh, you're like, oh, I think I didn't do my taxes correctly. I need to talk to my
Aha.
brother about it. I'll talk to him in summer. My own brother, I'll be like, oh, I'll put that off for 4 or 5 months. And I was like,
Yeah.
like your brother who lives near you and you can speak to whenever you want. Um,
No, no, you don't
mm.
understand. Me and my brother can go months without speaking. It's very rare.
But then, but then like 5 minutes later, you're like, I've messaged him. We're meeting up. We're talking about this thing. And everyone
Yes,
had a
yeah.
session like everyone had like a response like that. So like I had someone that I'd been meaning to contact since SPS last summer, so
Hmm.
8 months ago, who'd been like sort of on my list for a while to contact, and then someone else mentioned her again recently. I was like, yeah, I should call, I should mention it, and like get in touch with her. And then one of the tasks was like pick something from your to-do list that you keep meaning to do. I was like, I just sent her an email, and then
Hmm.
we're gonna meet up in the Island Conference next month. Like it's that easy.
Yeah.
And someone else had the same thing. They were like, oh,
Yeah.
I meant to contact an editor for ages and been on my list, and
Yeah.
then I emailed her and she's like, yeah, I'll fit you in. And it's just like
Hmm.
just that community of having people there. I don't know why it seems so easy to put stuff off when you're by yourself and
I
so much
think
more doable when other people are around.
I think like the putting it off thing for me is very much like everything. A task leads to 10 more tasks. So contacting
Hmm.
somebody leads to the follow up. Like they're gonna reply. This is why
Yeah.
I struggle to stay in touch with people because I'm never in the mindset of I don't want a live conversation. I want a message and then a
Hmm.
6 month gap and then another message.
Yeah.
So that's like once when you message somebody that you're going to have to do something afterwards. And I think that
Yeah.
that's the difficult thing. It's like we're already all so busy. Everyone's got so
Hmm.
much on their plate. And the thing that seems the most important thing is the book that you're working on, the book that you're editing,
Yeah.
writing, about to publish. And then once you've done that, the next thing is like the next book. It's always just like the next. So you don't
maybe that's
stop.
the thing from this. Yeah, because we did stop, right? That's the thing is like we stopped
Yeah.
for 4 days, and within this,
Yes.
everyone has stopped together. So we all kind of
Yeah.
could be like, okay, I'm just looking away from the panic of if I message a person, I'm gonna mess you back, and I
Yeah.
can deal with that. And like this person messaged me back yesterday, I messaged them back, they messaged me back today. We've arranged a time and date to meet, and like that was it's now Monday, and we finish our little workshops on Sunday. Done, and now that's
Yeah.
off my plate, and
We
that just
were
feels so good.
we were on a virtual desert island, which
Yeah,
felt like
yes,
it was like we're out of time and space, and that really is
yeah,
how it felt. It was just like a complete break from reality to just be an author, and that's what you get done. Like when you don't have anything else to do, when you don't have anywhere else to go, and you're just taking time for the one thing, things fall into place so much easier. And that's just like, that's a blessing to be able to take the time away from life and just sit down with other people. That's just like the best thing.
And that's what our mastermind day has always been. It's always just been like, we bring our laptops together, we look at each other's screens, and we're like, I don't know what I'm doing here, or does this look all right to you, or like anything, or let's look at this, like gossip about this together. Do you think it means the same thing as I think it means? Anything like that. And like when we were starting, just over 2 years ago, our conversations were really just like, here are my numbers. I've tried some ads. Here's an ad I tried. Okay. Like there wasn't like a deep and meaningful conversation coming out.
Yes,
There was
there's
just
no
like
continuity
we were
with
trying.
it. Yeah.
And I think I wish we'd started that earlier, and I wish everyone would do that. Like I wish everyone would just like find a person to like one day a month like share screens with, and be like, I'm just gonna be 100% open, and we get to like ask for help and like explain, like ask for an explanation of something you should know by now, because that's just changed everything, and that's got us to where we are now, where I feel like I can do anything.
Yeah, and
I feel
grab
like
a
I can make
buddy and go and do some like one-on-one work with them, because you will get so much further so much quicker by doing that. Like by share, just like you need to have 2 brains sometimes. Sometimes you need 6 brains. I was at my day job today and it took 3 brains to do 1 job. It's like, that's just what we needed today. It's like, fantastic.
But when we finished, it just felt like, I can't believe we did this forever. This just feels like exactly what I should be doing. And we're already making plans for the next thing to come, which I'm excited about. Do we have anything else on the topic of our retreat/workshops?
No, just I want to say, everybody who came, thank you so much, because it was the best. Yeah. And I wasn't awkward at all, which was what I was worried about.
I was not worried about that, because even when you're awkward, it's like a good sort of awkward, so it's fine. It's like endearing, like an 80s movie. I think it'd be good.
Yeah.
So next week we're having a big switch topics, and we're talking about ads.
Yes.
Are you running ads at the moment?
I am running ads at the moment.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm very excited to talk about it.
Okay.
How about you?
I am having my ads run for me like a princess.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to talk about that, and about why I'm doing it, how it works, and what I'll have finished a month of it by then, so I'll be able to kind of give a good review on what's going on.
Yep, next weekend is my month of ads. So we strangely, without planning, started this at the same time.
That is 2 years of synchronicity now.
Yeah, come about perfectly. So we will both have completed our first month of you being a princess and me being a boss.
And this is Facebook ads, so everyone listening, we're doing Facebook ads. So we are going to talk about like everything about them that we've got going on so far. And what we're doing next.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
If you would like to contribute to the podcast, keep us running, keep us on the airwaves, the metaphorical airwaves, we've got a coffee, which you can find in the show notes. And it's just the price of a coffee or 2 coffees, cake, whatever you want to feed us, we will happily take it. If you would like to just join us for free on the Discord, that's also absolutely fine. The link is also in the show notes. It is a great community, as you've heard. Everyone in there is fantastic and just great chats. So join in. anything else? That's maybe all the updates for now, but
I
we
think,
will.
yeah. I need to just go and
We'll be
sleep.
back with more. Yeah, we'll be back with more excellent updates next week, and we will see you again. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.